I really don't know how to react to things like this. Um, I found out early this morning, as probably a lot of you have also found out, that we lost a family member this morning, roughly, well, it was on the 14th, around 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to get on here and I'm not going to harp about, what other people have said. I want to share my experience, though, with him about, I had him on the show doing the John Gruden email chronicles. And when I first met the guy, genuinely liked him. You know, um, Born Raider fan out of Philly, just all around great dude, great views. Uh, Even came in, sat in with him on a couple of his wrestling podcasts. Um, he was pretty much my interlink to the newer generation of YouTube of Raider fans. What's going on, Al's Ghost? What's going on, Richard Lyon, Anthony Estrada, Jack Bauer? And I'm gonna try not to look at the chat, man, because I don't want to get sidetracked with pretty much what I'm saying. Darien was a good dude, and even when all the bullshit popped off with the in between the Raiders YouTubers and whatnot, he pretty much tried to stay his way out of it. Now, of course, we all did not. Maybe we all didn't, see eye to eye on a lot of the things that we talked about, but we all understood each other. We all respected each other, and this was one dude I definitely respected. Um, had a huge following at one point. And I always, my experience with Darien, it's not very much. I shared the camera with him. I shared lives with him from time to time, but not like most of you have. I did talk with him behind the scenes a few times, you know. I never knew if there was anything really going on inside of his personal life. I know that he had a lot of good things going for him, you know. Regardless on how you feel, what your political views are, what your gender identification is, all of that crazy shit that we've been dealing with in 2025. Put all that shit aside because we lost a family member, we lost a brother, a dude who was all about this football team, even deep in enemy territory right there in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And when he came out, and he shared his little secret online. I was the first one to sit there and tell him, and it's one thing I'll always remember. I was the first one to tell him that he had bigger balls than half the people who were doing YouTube content because nobody without big balls would have did what he just did. I respected him for that. I respected the hell out of him for that. As you can see, I don't have any music going on in the background. There's a reason why I don't have any music going on in the background. I feel like that he deserves a little bit more respect than that because the dude, really, what he was, man, he just wanted to fit in. He just wanted to be one of the guys, and he knew his shit. He knew his football inside and out. He never intentionally went out and tried to hurt anyone. Now, were we all in beefs? Of course, we were all in beefs at one point in time. A lot of us sided with one another during those beefs. But all beef and all the bullshit aside, life's too short, man. And he was young. Young. My 45-year-old self looks at this guy and it's just like, bro, he's so damn young compared to me. Had his whole life ahead of him. Wanted to do this commentating, these sports shows, wanted to do all of this for a living, and I never hated him for that. Never hated him for that. I understood what he was trying to do. He just wanted to make money and make a living at doing what he loved, and for that I don't hate him for it. Now I know you guys are probably wondering how, why. I don't know any of these things on how or why. I know just about as much as you guys. I mean, this is what was posted on DH Impact Sports Media, which happens to be his channel. And it was his fiance who broke the news to everyone. It's how we know what time it happened. I woke up this morning uh, to that in the Instagram chat with my brothers Afakasi, West Side Media, Aunt Six, and Raphael. And I've been waiting to get on here to say anything about it because I'm really shook, honestly. I wish that if he was having problems, because we don't know what happened. You know what I mean? We don't know if it was, and I would suggest, and I would actually appreciate, and I think all of us would appreciate if you gave the family some time to themselves to be able to kind of digest everything. They deserve their privacy at this moment, which is, I just want to come on here and say that didn't matter about his views. It didn't matter about any of that. I mean, a lot of the shit that he would say, I didn't agree with. You know what I mean? But he was still a Raider. And when we lose Raiders like this, it sucks. Especially somebody who we knew. Like, he entertained us. I would go in and watch his shows, but I know that I'm not the best when it comes to going and watching everybody else's content. Sometimes you'll see me in certain places. Other times you don't see me at all. And it's just because I get so damn busy with real life, I hardly have the time to get on here. Or most of the time, I won't even be watching Raider content. I'll be watching other things. But, I enjoyed hanging out with him on his wrestling podcasts. I enjoyed hanging out with Key. You know what I mean? And just going over there and just shooting the shit with all of them. And I know that he changed his brand a few times, and he bounced around so damn much I couldn't keep up with him, really. But he was one of the first people who actually agreed to come on that John Gruden Email Chronicle show when it was such a touchy subject and nobody wanted to talk about it. But this is, I mean, I know that we're all in shock. I know I'm still in shock. There is one thing I do want to do for him, because as an avid wrestling fan myself, I believe that he would even appreciate this. Darion Hopkins, Spotlight Raiders Talk. As far as I'm concerned, an absolute legend. Uh, Rest in peace. Raider in peace, my brother. For you will be sorely missed. We lost a good one, Raider Nation. I'm going to go ahead and pull my hat. And we're going to give him a 10 bell salute. Raider in peace, my brother. You're definitely going to solely be missed.
Touchdown, Raiders!
He deserves it. He deserves every bit we can possibly give him. Now, I do want to jump into something else before I get out of here. And it all goes in to what happened with Spotlight. I think this actually needs to be looked at. I mean, in real actuality, because I'm even guilty of this myself. And after seeing how short life can obviously be, you know, what are we out here doing this for, man? Some of us are just out here at each other's throats. And life is too short for all of this beefing shit. It really is. So I want to remove that. And I want to go ahead and add this because this was also dropped today. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to mute this to where we can all see, we can all listen to it, we can all hear it. This is from Raider Dirty. It was right after he found out about Darion's passing. And I've been waiting to actually sit here and watch it with all of you. I got a few pieces of it, but I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch it with every single one of y'all right here live. Let's go ahead and get here.
Yo, Raider Nation, what's good? It's your boy Dirty Raider back
Y'all
again,
hear it?
man. Had some time to sit and ponder
Does
a
it need
few
to go up?
things after hearing the really bad news about Spotlight this morning. Um, I'm here with a challenge. This sparks a challenge for me. And this is the Raider Nation content creator Dead to Beef challenge. If you got beef with a fellow content creator, I challenge you to dead that shit right now. Life is short, man. We lost a good one. You know what I mean? Everybody might not have liked his takes and things of that situation, but he was still a Raider fan, still a human being first and foremost. You know what I mean? And he's somebody who took his time to create content to entertain other people. You know what I mean? That goes a long way, man. So this is my Dead to Beef challenge right now. And I'm going to start it off. I'm ending my beef with Graphic Raider. You know what I mean? When I come to think about it, look, Brody got to live his life. I got to live mine. You know what I mean? Everybody got to do things their way. I end my beef with Graphic Raider. Hammer. I dead my beef with Hammer. Shit happens. Oh, eyes open. You awaken. You move on. Right? Everybody ain't going to be perfect. Again, like I said, people got to do them. Be it right, be it wrong. You know what I mean? My beef with him is over. Wasted talent. I dead my beef with Wasted. Truthfully, I really never really disliked Brody. I just didn't like the way I felt I was being treated. You know what I mean? When I knew Brody had a better heart than that. And it might have just been me. I don't know. But, you know what I mean? I'm over that. I dead my beef with Mikey Raider. Even though I know that's who got my channel taken down. You know, Brody got enough things going on in his life. He don't need me bashing him too. I got a beef with Dirty Low. You know what? All I needed was an apology, but you know what? Fuck it. I don't need the apology, bro. My beef with him is over. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Now, please understand, just because I dead my beef with people doesn't mean I have any want or will to work with them. Just know that I don't have any ill will feelings towards any of these people. You're never going to hear me bash them, badmouth them, or anything like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I don't think there's any other beef I have out there. If it is, if you think it is, hey, forget about it. You know what I mean? Just know that if I owe you an apology, I apologize. But if you owe me one, be man enough to give it to me. And anybody else that you may owe an apology to. This is my Raider Nation content creator Dead to Beef challenge. And the penalty for not meeting the challenge should be people to stop following you, stop watching you. That should be, you know what I mean, the penalty for not taking the challenge. Right? But we'll see how far it goes. You know what I mean? Just understand, I got nothing but love, appreciation, understanding, and support for those who make Raider content that are true Raider fans. Oh, also Mitchell Rance as well. Another person that I've bashed and badmouthed a lot too. You know what I mean? I don't really have too much to say bad about Brody. You know what I mean? I don't have anything bad to say about anybody anymore. So, hey, I apologize. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like I said, I don't expect to work with any of these people. I just want them to understand that I owe y'all an apology. And here it is. I do apologize. All right. Blessings to y'all. May y'all continue to thrive, be strong, and put out content that benefits the nation. And yeah, blessings. All right. Peace.
I thought that was pretty moving, honestly. Not to take away any spotlight from Darien, but I think that we could actually learn from this. I think maybe this would be a pretty damn good idea to salute Dirty on that one, because I honestly kind of feel it. I'm 45 years old, man. And all these beefs and whatnot. I mean, all it does is tear us down on the inside. There was a lot of people who didn't like Spotlight just because of who Spotlight was, and I never understood that. Spotlight was a good dude. Never liked didn't like all of his takes, but he was a good dude. You know, and I don't think he'd want us beefing. How are you, bro?
So it's your critique, everybody in the chat. Um, Shame about the circumstances which has brought us together in life, doing Raider-related content. A very somber mood indeed, and very unfortunate news. I was up late last night when I found out the news. I did a short video expressing my feelings and my condolences towards Darien, aka D-Hop, aka Raider Spotlight. Raider Spotlight is what most of us know him as. I mean, I remember when I first came across Spotlight back in 2021. He was one of the bigger Raider YouTube content creators when there wasn't so much of us. Like, it was starting to build to the point where it is now around that time. But yeah, he was one of the bigger names, and he was responsible for putting a lot of us and giving a lot of us a start, or putting us on the map, or helping putting us on the map, including myself. Like, he was one of the first bigger content creators who really supported me from the beginning, when like I was still trying to find my feet, so to say. I didn't have that much of a following. I was an unknown, and he was one of the guys who always gave me a chance and supported me as I continued to grow. He always still supported me. I always supported him. I was on his panels many a times.
I mean, we had a good time with him, man.
I love Spotlight.
Show the camera. I mean, every time he would show up, it would just like he'd liven up the room. It was, I mean, even when he was going off on Raider Ben's channel, I mean, it got crunk, and he brought in a whole new energy that I didn't even think that
I remember
Spotlight
that
was
one.
capable of, dude.
Yeah. I actually, yeah, I remember. I know the incident you're talking about, but we're not going to get too in depth with that. But that's one of my favorite memories about Spotlight was that video when he appeared on Bence's Live, and he fired a few shots and showed a different side to him, and I appreciate that.
The
So
dude had a big heart,
he did.
regardless on whether a lot of people accepted him or not. That's all he wanted was to
Well,
be accepted.
here's the
And
thing.
And he
Sorry.
he was accepted.
Do you remember the video? Do you remember when he did that live and he came out about
Right.
his circumstances and that? You know what the beautiful thing was? Nobody cared. And hear me out when I mean nobody cared is that people didn't care about like him, his whatever he's going through or whatnot, like and caring about like, oh, he's this and that, so we don't want to
Never
mess with him
judged
anymore.
him for
What
it.
people cared about and judged him for was his character, to the point where, you know what, we don't care. You're a cool cat. We love you. And that was the bottom line. And it was a beautiful thing to see.
Was. And fitting for our fan base to be able to accept anyone and everyone.
Right.
I mean, that's how I was always raised. It's what are you like in here?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care about what you do on your personal time. Are you a good person? You know what I'm saying? Or are you out there? Are you lying? Are you cheating? Are you stealing? Are you thieving? And he was none of those. He was just,
Right.
he was trying to do everything he could to do what he loved to do. He just too soon, man. It was. It's way too soon for him to go. And I do like what Cody is saying because, like I was saying, it's just we wouldn't have wanted all of us to squash. We would want all of us to squash the beef. I mean, him and Ern at one point didn't like each other, and they were able to squash it. You know what I mean? We've seen crazier things happen. Even in that video right there, watching Dirty say that, I would never have thought in a million years that he would give up the beef with Lowe. But I agree with him. Yeah, there are some cats out there I probably will never fuck with, but you know what? Dirty's right, dude. We need to drop the beefs, and I'm gonna start. I'm gonna fall right in line with him. I'm gonna drop the beef with Docs. Don't like what you did to OG, but you know what? You got your own family too, just like he said. You're trying to do what you got to do to make your ends meet, and I don't hate you for that. I used to hate Raider fans because they would use the Raider logo to fatten their pockets. But then when it comes to guys like Darien, who I know had a passion for sports broadcasting, couldn't hate him for it. So why should I hate Docs for that too? Mitchell Renz, can't stand that you used to be a Jets fan, but hey, you're a Raider fan now. You got here. I hope you can forgive me for talking so much shit about you. You crazy fuckers over there at DSR, I still don't like your takes, but I never want anything bad to happen to any of you. You guys are probably real good people outside of the camera. I'm tired of the bullshit. I want us to be a family again, and as we lose family members like this, it shows the division that this fan base has become. I think we should use this as an example. I think we should use this as a way of coming together as a fan base. Because that's what Darien would have wanted.
Right. I mean, the thing with family and a common passion that brings us together, unfortunately, it's human nature that different personalities clash and sets us apart. So I can appreciate the sentiment. And look, with Spotlight specifically, like I will not forget the things that he did for me and the times we shared the panel and the friendship that we built. and I will cherish that forever. And like I said, I appreciate that he took a chance on me when I was I mean, I'm still not all this and all that, but I was a nobody, a literal nobody on the scene. Nobody knew who I was, and he still made time for me, and we shared the panel many a times. And he's much like myself, a passionate guy. For better and for worse, we wear our hearts on our sleeves, and sometimes it comes out when we convey our message. But that's what makes us unique, I guess. Well,
Look, hey, I don't.
you good?
Yeah, I understand this too, man, but I just can't hold animosity anymore. I'm tired of holding animosity, especially to guys that I really don't even know. I know their takes are trash. Al's Ghost, the only one that's relevant over there
I like it.
when it comes to Raider takes. You know what I mean? Other than that, I don't listen to the rest of them. But I can tell you this, as much as I can't stand Dustin's takes, I'd be upset if he passed away. You know, I would, because you know that, I mean, even though with as much shit as we give that dude, you know what I mean? It would be sad because you know that he has a family that he leaves behind.
Look,
Just like
I don't
Darien
even
had
want
a
to make
family
this
he
about
left
them.
behind.
I don't
And I
even want
know,
to make
yeah,
this about them. I don't even want
Darien,
to speak about them. I just want to speak about Darien. I don't care about them. I care about Darien
well,
and Spotlight.
well, I'm answering the challenge.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
I
why
think
I was actually only doing this extremely late. Because in all actuality, I just want a clear head when I'm thinking about this and when I'm talking about it.
right.
Because there is a bigger picture to this, and we can make a positive out of a super negative because this is super negative. This is something that hits home. I've never dealt with anything like this well, ever. It makes me look at myself and what can I do to make myself better for when my time comes. Because we could always be better. Darien was a good example of that. I wish I could have been half the person Darien was. No joke. Dude was a good guy. And if he had issues, man, I really wish he would have reached out to somebody. And if any of y'all are having issues, if y'all need someone to speak to, please do not hesitate to call someone and pick up the phone. Talk to somebody.
Right.
We all go through our own mental anguishes, and we don't have to go through it alone. We don't. There's a lot of us out there who really care about how each other feel and how each other think. Because if we didn't, then maybe some of this shit would not affect us the way that it does. You know?
I'm sure that would
Darien
won't
was
be
a
his
good
lasting
dude.
legacy. He is a good dude.
Just sucks, man.
We love you, Darien. Spotlight Raider. Thank you for all the times we shared and all the things that you've done for a lot of us, including myself. Forever sail
He's
into
like
the void, the silver and black void and the silver and black seas. Find your
literally,
happiness. And hopefully in the
literally the reason why I
afterlife, the
met
Raiders
you.
can still provide you with happiness by bringing some success soon that you can look down on and smile and bring you joy, even in the afterlife. Much love, my friend.
You know, he's the reason why I met you. He's the reason why I met Key. Hell, he was one of the reasons why we met Ern, because Spotlight was growing a huge following at that point and started bringing all kinds of people on his channel. That's how I heard about Ern. I think it was Spotlight's channel first.
Yeah. I heard about SC. I heard about Hammer. Like Hammer was Hammer was nobody until Spotlight brought him under his banner. SC was another one who, a guy who Spotlight took a chance on and gave him his start. Westside Ern. I never heard of Westside until I saw Westside on the whole Spotlight Sports Network. So there's a lot of not just myself. There's also Protect the Shield. Chris is another one. Cheetah Linus is another one. These are guys that all started with under the under Darien and Spotlight Sports or whatever he branded his channel.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of us who got our starts or had a big help from him being able to give us a bigger platform to share ourselves and give us more of a platform to speak on. As I said, he was one of the biggest Raider content creators in that 2021 year where like a lot of people was doing this StreamYard stuff got their starts. He was actually the first that I found out like what StreamYard was. I remember he was doing like a live and I'd never heard of StreamYard and he was setting up links. And I'm like, what is this? And he's like, oh, it's called StreamYard. Come and join and we can talk live and all that. And so to me, like he was the first one. He may not have been the first to do it, but he was among the first to do it. And he was the first one I knew who was doing it via StreamYard. And then a lot of people followed suit. So
Absolutely.
you could say he was a pioneer when it came to like the whole StreamYard lives and doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because before it was just people were doing live shows and that, but not like this where, you know, you're bringing up comments and you're just shooting your takes and that. So I haven't forgotten about that.
If anything, he linked us all up together to have the shows that we have now. I mean, we probably would have never met if Spotlight Raiders Talk wasn't a show.
Is that really where we met? Critique.
It was all around that same era when I was doing the John Gruden Email Chronicles, and we were kicking it with NWA, and we were doing all that. It was all around the same time frame.
I met you before that. I'm pretty sure.
You may
but
have.
Regardless, you know.
I just remember that being some of the best times on YouTube in my life was back in those days when John Gruden was getting ousted. And there was so many content creators, and I was just absolutely baffled by how many content creators were out there for the Raiders now. So many different points of view and so many different aspects, so many different things I didn't think about. And that's why I had a great time during, you know, that John Gruden Email Chronicles segment because I was getting a little bit of everything from a little bit of everybody, you know. And Darien was like the first one to come in there and start hitting home runs. It was phenomenal. The dude had a talent and honestly should have got a lot farther than what he did. You know?
Right. Well, he branched out into a lot of other stuff as well. Like he was doing, he was a major advocate and pusher for pushing out content related to women's sport. As somebody in the chat, I don't know who it was, I forgot.
Absolutely.
Brought up, you know, a major advocate for women's sport, branching out into a lot of other things like basketball, baseball, like, yeah, like there's a lot that can be said about Darien in a very positive note, and these are all things that I'm going to remember him by.
Honestly, I can't even think of anything negative at all to say about him. He was that cool of a dude.
I always liked him. He was always good to me.
Yeah, I mean, he was always good to me. And if anybody, like I said, man, if you guys are feeling any sort of way, you know what I mean? I know that he was a lot closer with a lot of you more than most. You know what I mean? And please, you know, just do what you can, you know, reach out to somebody, talk with somebody, but also do what you can not to, you know, give the family some time. Really give them some time, and definitely they need time for a reset.
Don't speculate.
Don't speculate. Don't bombard them. And if they want to tell us what happens, they'll come out and tell us later.
Right.
You know, but until then, just don't hassle them. Understand that our hearts are with you, to the family of Darion Hopkins, to his wonderful fiance that he leaves behind, and the rest of his family. We're truly sorry, and our prayers are with you.
Much love, Darien. Fly high and forever sail into the silver and black seas, into the afterlife.
Hey, man, let's get out of here. I'm good with this.
Raider in peace. We love you, Darien.
Brother. Love you, bro.